Hi everyone, it's Jeannie from Four Paws Acupuncture, and I thought I would take a little bit of time today to make a video about our book, BARKOPAEDIA, the Canine Book of Knowledge, with some strange, quirky facts and frequently asked questions anytime someone buys the book or talks about the book with me. Enjoy. So originally, this book was started more than 10 years ago, and I kept putting off working on it. You know how that goes. We put off things we think we want to do and finish. And then early February 2020, I came down with COVID. And this was before it was cool to have COVID or anyone knew much about it. This was before masks and gloves and the panic and the toilet paper and everything else. I was so sick. I really thought I was going to die. I know I sound like Rosanna Dana, but I was so sick that I made a will, and I promised myself that if I got well, I would finally finish this book. So there was a silver lining to this whole COVID pandemic for me. So for that whole year, during the shutdown and afterwards, I worked on the book, along with Norman Kraft, who's also an acupuncturist. He was the left brain of this operation, uploading graphics and editing and trying to get this thing uploaded, which took an act of God because it originally ended up being about 750 pages, which was way too big to upload to Amazon for a book. So it had to be trimmed down, and then we went with another publisher, Ingram. And after all of that, this book was finally completed and ready for sale in October of 2020. Before the pandemic, I was working at our family vet services in Peabody, Massachusetts, and making house calls. And then we had the shutdown, and I was considered a non-essential person because it's not essential to get acupuncture for your dogs in the eyes of the government. So this also inspired me to finish this book and also create online classes so that I could tell people who needed help with their dogs during this time how to help them without me having to come out of the house. Here is a picture of Juanita the cat, one of my best friends, and she's still with us and I love her to death. And Mino, with an acupuncture needle in his little yin tang point. Mino's no longer with us, but he was at our family vet services. He was the house dog there, and he was such a lovely, lovely boy to work with. One of the most common questions I get is, who is the dog on the cover? Well, his name is Ralphie, and he's a space cowboy who is alive and well and works for NASA. And there is a reason I chose him for the cover. So Ralphie really is just a graphic of a dog in space, but it was inspired by Laika, the Russian space dog, who I dedicated the book to because I was just always inspired by this poor dog that went up to space, gave her life to space, and never came back. And also, I probably overdosed on the movie My Life as a Dog back in the late 80s. It's a wonderful movie. It does have subtitles. I believe the language is Swedish. It's sad, it's funny, and it is about this poor dog, Lakia, and a little boy who is obsessed with her. So that is why we have a dog in space on the cover. Quirky, right? One of the things I did want to cover in this book was the best of both worlds, Western medicine and alternative medicine. I believe that we can work together for the best possible outcome for the patient, whether it be an animal or a human. I've been lucky enough to work with vets who are open to holistic medicine, and I also know some veterinarians who will roll their eyes and laugh at it as well. However, I wanted to give the reader information on both topics so that when they do go to their veterinarian, they can make an informed choice of how they want to treat the dog, and so they know a little bit more about their dog's condition. So the book does cover some basic canine anatomy, as well as some common Western medications and their side effects, so you're not shocked when your dog has other symptoms besides what you took him or her to the vet for. The book has several chapters on herbal and homeopathic remedies, supplements, Bach flower remedies, and other kinds of remedies for common canine ailments and not so common canine ailments. You are what you eat applies to dogs too, so I've included information on nutrition as well as recipes that I've used myself for my own dogs when they were sick or elderly and that I've recommended to my dog patients. I also wanted to bring attention to several types of holistic therapies and alternative medicine and traditional Chinese medicine used to help your dog that you can use in conjunction with Western medicine. Things like acupuncture, acupressure, Reiki, chiropractic, aqua dog swimming, physical therapy, singing bowls, tuning forks, EFT tapping, massage, and more. And I wanted to especially have a couple sections on basic acupressure for your dog. This way you can do some basic acupressure at home on your dog or your cat or even yourself, because the same points work on humans, cats, horses, animals, and pretty much any living being. And there's probably about 30 points covered in this book. I honestly can't remember. I don't have it in front of me, with specific information on how to find the points, how to massage those points, and what those points are used for. So it's quite helpful for you to help your dog or cat at home. We've included cheat sheets for what to do for dogs with allergies, intestinal upsets, arthritis, hip dysplasia, and pain, and a special section on canine cancer, medicinal mushrooms, and so much more. And to keep the book interesting, I wanted to add a few different topics that are usually not covered in basic dog books about health. So there's a special chapter, Saints, not St. Bernards, all about the saints and deities that are canine related. This is a picture of St. Christopher with a dog head and St. Rock or Rocco, who is also the patron saint of dogs. I had a lot of fun researching canine deities and esoteric topics like dogs and tarot cards and demon dogs and exorcisms for dogs and animal spirits for dogs and everything kind of wooey that you can think of dog related. I'm not a professional astrologer. However, I do follow it, I love it, and I've tried to learn as much as I possibly can about it. So I've included a section about astrology for dogs and astrological signs for dogs that may help you a little bit understand your dog if you do know its sign. I also wanted to include a whole chapter on crystals because I am addicted to crystals. I love them. I use them a lot in my practice. I have them all over the home. I bring them to the vet office when I was working there. And so there's specific crystals that you can keep in your home, your office, or your veterinary office that will help calm stress and things like that for your pets. Dogs do have chakras, and I needed to tell you that, as well as they may be animal spirits as well. During that year of the shutdown, our dog, Kuan Yin Callie Wu, was diagnosed with cancer. She had a huge tumor on her back leg, which ended up being the size of an eggplant a couple days before she passed away. So she inspired a chapter on how to deal with a dog that is dying and what to do when you have to make that decision and how to approach it without flipping out your dog or your veterinarian during the process. So she inspired so much of this book, but there is a special chapter specially dedicated to her. I had some really exciting and bizarre adventures when I was making house calls in the area, and there's a few chapters on the things that happened to me that are, some of them are humorous and some of them are scary, but I just thought it would be fun to include them in the book. And my favorite chapter to write, actually there's two chapters. There's one all about the dog that played Toto in the movie The Wizard of Oz, and then there's another chapter about Dorothy and Toto in The Wizard of Oz and how Toto actually is the main hero and topic of the story of The Wizard of Oz. I am obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. I've probably seen that movie 100 times, and if you watch it from the perspective of Toto, it has a whole different meaning. And finally, the most popular question I get about this book is, how do you pronounce the title? Well, you can be a snob about it and pronounce it like Ted Mosby as BARKOPAEDIA. And that's how I like to, because it's an inside joke after watching the sitcom How I Met Your Mother over and over and over and over, especially during the pandemic. I will link the YouTube with this scene down below, as I can't put it in this video because YouTube will not allow it because it has a copyright. Anyway, if you're familiar with the show, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, just ignore it, and you can call the book whatever you want. BARKOPAEDIA, the Canine Book of Knowledge, is everything in the universe your dog wants you to know. And it's now available in hardcover and paperback. If you're buying it for the holidays, your best shipping option, quickest delivery, is Amazon. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have other questions, leave them in the comments below. For more information, books, online classes, holistic pet services, and healing pet amulets, you can visit our website, fourpawsacupuncture.com or naturerealmportal.com. Thanks so much, and thanks for watching.